Chapter 6. Earth Person Stops Feeling Guilty. Earth Person. Martian? Yes. I've been thinking. A while back, I said I needed some way to remember all these things I've been learning, and I've just figured out that you gave me one by teaching me about the various parts people have. It's a sort of framework I can use to keep all these things in my mind. I know. Did you do this on purpose? Yes. How come? You said you needed help. But you didn't say you were going to give me any help. I know. But why didn't you? It was a gift. But you didn't even tell me. So, you learn for yourself. Who says you must be told? You mean you give things to people without telling them? Yes. Don't you want to be thanked? What for? So you'll know the gift is appreciated. If it's appreciated, I'll know. If it's not appreciated, I'll know that too. What you say doesn't change what I know. But I'd feel guilty if I didn't thank you. Remember when we talked about the separate parts of your personality? Yes. Well, guilt is a feeling in your adapted child. You can stop feeling guilty if you want to. You can turn off the tape. But I don't need any fancy techniques to stop feeling guilty. All I need is to thank you. When do you usually feel guilty? When I don't do something I know I should do? It seems you need to learn more about your separate parts. Why do you say that? So you can see how you arrange to feel certain feelings. You tie up lots of energy feeling things you don't have to. You could put this energy to more productive use. Like what? Like arranging to get out of your confusion. But you have to feel guilty. You've got to have a conscience. And if you don't do what your conscience says, you should feel guilty. Do you want to learn more about these parts you have? Yes, but I also want to talk about feeling guilty. I'm still not satisfied. We can come back to that after you've learned more about your parts. Okay, but don't forget. I won't. Now, each part has its own words, its own vocabulary, its own posture, and its own tone of voice. Each looks different from the others, and each is used for a different purpose. Really? Yes. Your parent is used to control, to protect, to punish, or to give permission. It says things like, you should, you ought to, and you have to. It has fixed positions and is unyielding. It operates on the basis of beliefs and on rules and regulations passed down from other generations. It contains all the things you've been taught and all you've learned for yourself and no longer think about. Your parent doesn't think for itself. It typically sees things in black and white. It's judgmental and prejudiced. It's critical of views that conflict with its own. It deals in issues like morality and responsibility, and it usually talks in terms of good and bad and right and wrong. It's useful to you when you need to control a situation, or when you need to respond fast and automatically in situations that require no thought. What does my parent look like? Your parent looks very much like a real mother or father dealing with a youngster. It frowns, or looks stern, and uses a powerful, controlling voice. It might even point an accusing finger at other people. And what about my adult? Your adult is the computer in your head. It deals in probabilities. It asks questions and provides people with information. It assesses the data received. It talks about appropriateness and examines options and alternatives. Your adult makes decisions, but it doesn't judge. It's never tense. It has no urgencies. Your adult isn't always visible on your face, but when it is, you're relaxed, alert, and aware. You look like you're listening or thinking, like you're processing data. And what about my natural child? Your natural child smiles a lot. It says things like, I like, and I want, and I feel. It wishes and dreams. It has fun. It enjoys life. It cries. It feels. It creates. It loves. It's curious. It's open and trusting. It responds spontaneously to the world around it. When you were young, everything you felt was a spontaneous, natural child response to your immediate environment. And my adapted child? Your adapted child sulks and accommodates and does all the things you learned to do as a little child. It's easily intimidated. It feels depressed, guilty, lonely, inept, and embarrassed. It may also feel angry, frustrated, or scared as your natural child sometimes does, but your adapted child feels these feelings in situations where The feelings are unwarranted or unnecessary. Your adapted child's feelings are programmed and predictable, like when you get angry time and time again at the same thing. Are the feelings in my natural child and the feelings in my adapted child both real feelings? Yes, in the sense that you genuinely feel them. Adapted child feelings, however, are repeats from the past, which a person can choose not to feel anymore. I see. Now, if you'd like, we can go back to our discussion about your feeling guilty. Yes, I sure would. I think you were saying that people shouldn't feel guilty, and I don't agree. Tell me once again when you usually feel guilty. When I don't do something I know I should do, or sometimes when I do something I know I shouldn't do. All right, now listen to your words. Do you hear your parent telling you what you should or should not do? What do you mean? You just explained that you usually feel guilty when you don't do something you know you should do. Oh, I know that's what I said. When you listen to these words, did you hear your parent? Oh, you mean that's my parent? Yes. Well, so what? Who cares what part of me says it? It's still what I should do. Where did you learn about what you should and should not do? I don't know. Everybody knows right from wrong. Do you hear your parent again? Again? Did you hear it saying everybody knows right from wrong? I don't know what you're trying to tell me. Maybe everybody doesn't know right from wrong, but they certainly should. Do you hear it still? What are you talking about? I'm asking you about your perceptions. I want to know if you hear yourself. I want to know if you can tell me which part of you is speaking. Which part of me is speaking? It's me. I'm speaking. That's which part is speaking. I know it's you speaking, but do you remember which part of you is unyielding, says you should a lot, and talks about right and wrong? You said it was my parent. Yes. Now, in our conversation, did you hear your parent speaking? Oh my God, that was it. I was just doing it. I was speaking from my parent. Right. It took a while for you to hear it. But what do you do in a situation like that? You have to know what's right and wrong and what you should and should not do. Who says? But if you didn't, the world would be in chaos. Here we go with that again. You're discounting your adult. You're denying the fact that you have an adult which could decide what would be best for you. Oh, you mean rather than just automatically thanking someone for a gift, I'd start thinking it through each time? Go crazy. It seems to me that would be very inefficient. You'd only have to think the process through once and then reparent yourself with your new conclusion. But I'd be right back where I started, in my parent. Yes, but now your adult would have instant access to your parent if it wanted to alter things in the future. You'd be able to constantly test your parent for its effectiveness and change it at will. I'm not sure I haven't been doing that all along. Most of my thoughts on thanking people for gifts are adult or based on adult thinking. Okay, let's assume you did think this notion through with your adult. Can you tell me what considerations you had in mind? Well, I usually thank people because it's the polite thing to do. It's just good manners. So? What do you mean so? That's the reason. That's what I had in mind when deciding to be polite. My adult decided that it was good manners. What's so important about politeness and good manners? Are you saying I shouldn't be polite? I'm not saying anything. I'm asking a question. I don't substitute questions for statements like Earth people do. When I want to say something, I make a statement about it. And then what was your question? The question was, what's so important about politeness and good manners? It's courteous. So why be courteous? So people will be courteous in return. You can't expect courtesy unless you give it. Is that the way it works? Whenever you're courteous to people, they're courteous in return? No, not always, but most of the time. What happens when people aren't courteous in return? I just don't deal with them anymore. I say to hell with them. You get angry. Damn right. Because you expected them to be courteous. Uh-huh. But I expect myself to be courteous too. And when you aren't courteous, you feel guilty? Right. Do you hear all this? I think I do. It's all from your parent. My parent. I thought I was giving you my adult reasons for all this. It's all parent. It's all the rules you've been taught about being polite and courteous and having good manners. You even thank people for gifts you don't want to receive, don't you? I sure do, particularly my in-laws. Last year, my mother-in-law gave me a huge houseplant that takes gallons of water. I have to water it every day, and it's really big. It's a nuisance. I not only thanked her for it, but the reason I kept it is to be polite. I really hate the thing, and you become angry whenever you think of it. That's for sure. Okay, let's review what you said so you can hear it. You expect yourself to be polite. Sometimes you are polite, like with your mother-in-law, and then you feel angry. Sometimes you aren't polite when you think you should be, and then you feel guilty. Sometimes other people aren't polite when you think they should be, and then you feel angry again. Yes, I think that's how it works. Do you hear how you set these feelings up with your expectations? All you need to do is expect something, in this case, politeness and good manners, and if it doesn't happen, you click in with certain programmed feelings. Yes, I hear that. And it really happens that way too. Well, all these feelings are in your adapted child. They go hand in hand with your expectations, which are in your parent. Your parent and your adapted child operate together at such moments. Your adult and your natural child are simply not involved. Your parent tells you what you should do, and then your adapted child feels what you once learned to feel in similar situations. It's all programmed. It's all on tape. So, what's wrong with that? It's not so bad. Nothing's wrong with it, unless you want to see clearly and arrange your life more to your liking. But how does it prevent me from rearranging my life? When you're operating from your parent or adapted child, you're not seeing. You haven't the faintest chance of seeing until you get into your adult or natural child. Oh, well, how can I do that? You use your adult. But I thought I was using my adult. Apparently I wasn't, but since I don't seem to know the difference, I'm presented with something of a dilemma. What do you want to do about the plant your mother-in-law gave you? I want to get rid of it. Will you? Oh, I feel guilty. But you feel angry now, whenever you think about it. I know. Do you want to continue feeling angry? No. But how would I explain it to my mother-in-law? Explain what? Getting rid of the plant. You could tell her what you actually did with the plant. You could say, I got rid of the plant. But she'd ask why. Then you could say why. You could say, because I wanted to. Or because it was too much trouble to water every day. But then she'd think I didn't appreciate it. See how you stop yourself from doing what you want? You bother about what other people think. Why not just say, I appreciated your gift, but it caused me problems, so I got rid of it. Then she'd feel hurt. So she'd blame me. So I'd feel guilty. Why? Because I'd hurt her. Ah, that's another of your fantasies. You believe you can control what other people feel. Actually, your mother-in-law has her own natural child and her own adapted child. She controls what she feels, not you. You have no magical power over her. Well, she'd certainly appear hurt. I know her. That's exactly what she would do. She'd look, act, and sound as if she were hurt. And which part of her would be doing it? Probably her adapted child. Right. Now, is that what you'd feel guilty about? The fact that she replays some feeling tape from her past? Oh my God, I never thought of it that way. That's ridiculous. She's just trying to get her own way. She doesn't have to feel hurt if she doesn't want to. And do you have to feel guilty? No. Good. You've sorted most of that out. Wow. That's really great. I'm not my parent anymore, and my adapted child doesn't have to feel guilty. How did you get me to do it? I asked you what you wanted to do about the plant. As I said earlier, it's all about knowing what you want. But before, when I was in my parent, I didn't know what to do about it. I hadn't the faintest idea how to work it out. We were talking abstractly about the broad issue of being polite. It's a parent issue, and your parent doesn't know anything about what you want. In order to change an earlier decision, you must have a specific issue you want to do something about. In this case, it was a plant, or more accurately, the feelings of anger and guilt you carried around with you regarding the plant. Did you know that right from the beginning? Yes, I knew you were interested in something to do with gifts. Then you changed the subject to this specific gift your mother-in-law had given you. You just weren't clear enough at the time to say exactly what it was you were trying to figure out. Yes, I remember. Next time, will you try to start out more clearly? rather than ask vague questions. Yes, I will. Good. And you know what else I'll do? No, I don't. Would you like to tell me? Yes, I would. I'll just give away the houseplant my mother-in-law gave me. And if she asks me why, I'll tell her it was just too much of a nuisance. And you won't feel guilty? No way. Congratulations. You've learned a lot. Comments. You now have an outline on how to listen for and recognize your parent, and how to begin to deal with your adapted child feelings. The subject chosen to explore this process, expressing appreciation for unwanted gifts and the related guilt feelings, isn't really a big issue for most people, yet it's the kind of issue that pops up randomly, just as it did for Earth Person. I chose it specifically for that reason. Handling issues as they randomly surface, regardless of their apparent significance, is the only way you can adequately explore the material in your parent and adapted child. Waiting for some big issue to cross your mind will only prevent you from starting. There's too much to be explored for you to wait. Smaller issues are almost always reflections of larger ones, and as we'll see shortly with Earth Person, the same feeling he uses to make sure he thanks people is the one that he uses to prevent himself from getting rich. Guilt is an adapted child feeling we use to control behavior. Mothers and fathers instill it in children, both knowingly and unknowingly, to manipulate them more easily. These children grow up and become adults whose parent ego states continue to use this guilt, now programmed in their adapted child, to control their own activities and manipulate their own behavior, often against their will. Feeling guilty and feeling happy are mutually exclusive. If you're feeling guilty, there's no way you can feel happy at the same time. Furthermore, if you're engaged in some compulsive behavior to relieve your guilt feelings or avoid them, like apologizing or thanking people for things or controlling your behavior in advance so you won't feel guilty afterward, you've got your energy tied up in ways that will ultimately defeat your efforts to see clearly. You undoubtedly do this not only with guilt, but with many other adapted child feelings as well. You don't need to do this. You can control your behavior using your adult and natural child and rearrange your life more effectively at the same time. Like most people, Earth Person has a tendency to string together 3 or 4 assumptions to justify his feelings and behavior. I'm polite because it's courteous. I'm courteous because it's good manners. Good manners mean good relationships. People will be polite back to you. As you get a feel for how he does this, notice how certain assumptions go hand in hand and how they're always used to justify certain other programmed feelings. Notice also that as these justifications are exposed, the associated feelings disappear since there's no longer any reason to feel them. Every time Martian says so, he's pointing to another of Earth Person's assumptions. This is an extremely important phenomenon. Without parent support for our adopted child feelings, in the form of assumptions and justifications, we'd simply be unable to sustain them. Unless we can justify what we feel, we usually won't feel it. We usually stop feeling something as soon as we lose our justification for it. Unfortunately, many assumptions are such an integral part of our daily living and of our life plan that questioning them often seems like heresy. The following statements, for example, deal with what to feel in a given situation and contain their own built-in assumptions. You should feel guilty. It's natural to feel depressed. You have every right to feel angry. I feel disappointed. I expected more. And in the heat of the moment, none of these statements makes any sense, except as justifications for the related feelings. Yet most people certainly think they make sense and use them to sustain their feeling responses and maintain the forward momentum of their life plan. There's no need to change what you feel if you can still justify feeling it to yourself. Compare these parent justifications to what your adult might say under the same circumstances. A. You may feel guilty if you've been programmed that way, but you don't have to feel guilty. Some people are programmed with less guilt than others anyway, and some get along very well with hardly any. B. It's natural to feel depressed only in depressing surroundings, like trying to survive as a homeless child in Bangladesh. Feeling depressed for most people in Western society isn't natural, it's adapted. C. You can feel what you feel. If you're angry, then you're angry. But if it doesn't serve you, you can give it up. D. People feel disappointed whenever their expectations don't come to pass. If you don't like feeling disappointed, think in terms of probabilities, and then you won't feel either surprised or disappointed. One particularly troublesome assumption people often make is that they can control what other people feel, and conversely, that others can control what they feel. He made me angry. She made me sad. I hurt his feelings. This assumption so permeates our culture that it's almost impossible to find someone not influenced by it. Yet it's contrary to what actually happens. While you may appear to gain manipulative power over others by believing that you can make them angry, sad, happy, etc., such power usually creates more problems than it solves. You become responsible for what they feel and have to be careful not to hurt them. You also permit them to hurt you. These activities drain away enormous amounts of time and energy, which could be utilized to get rich, as well as create many of the dysfunctions that stand in the way of happiness.